politics is super interesting. To get elected, to get people's approval, you basically have to run a really cool PR campaign. And none of that's really logical. Many of it's based on emotions. So what we're gonna look at today, in my opinion, some of the most effective, coolest political ads. Coolest, I'm not saying they're good, I'm just saying they're really effective at what they do. So first off, 1956, Dwight D. Eisenhower versus Adlai Stevenson II.
Ike for president, Ike for president, Ike for president, Ike for president. You like Ike, I like Ike, everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banner, beat the drum, we'll take Ike to Washington. We don't want John, or Dean, or Harry, let's do that big job right. Just get in step with the guy that's hep, get in step with Ike. You like Ike, I like Ike, everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banner, beat the drum, we'll take Ike to Washington. We got to get where we are going, travel day and night for president. Let Adelaide go the other way, we'll all go with Ike. You like Ike, I like Ike, everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banner, beat the drum, we'll take Ike to Washington, we'll take Ike to Washington.
Now is the time for all good Americans to come to the aid of their country.
Ike for president, Ike for president, Ike for president, Ike for president.
So this is just effective. There's like a bandwagon effect going on in it. It's like, oh my God, look at this. Everyone likes Ike. Well, you gotta like Ike too. Jump on the bandwagon. Even if you don't know anything about the election or the people running, you gotta like Ike, and everyone likes Ike. Very emotional. Appeals to kind of this community, this sense of I want to belong, right? Conformity. On top of that, the tune. It is so freaking catchy, man. I have it stuck in my head. Ike for president, Ike for president. I like Ike, you like Ike, everybody likes Ike. I love it, man. I love it. Even if you didn't like Eisenhower, that tune will be stuck in your head for days. It appeals to a psychological concept called cognitive dissonance. You're doing something contrary against what you believe in. So maybe you don't like Eisenhower, but you get this tune stuck in your head. You can't get it out of your head. Maybe you're going to think in your mind, hey, is Ike that bad if I keep singing his name? So it's so effective that for the people who are undecided, it's telling them, hey, this is the way to go. And for the people who like Eisenhower, it's like, oh my God, yeah, I'm in the right kind of mindset. I'm in the right group. And then for people who don't like Eisenhower, it's like, oh, but I'm still getting this song stuck in my head and I want to belong too. Super effective ad, man. Also, it's very positive ad, right? It's not attacking. It's very just positive energy, man. I think out of all the ads, it's manipulative, but it's also extremely feel-good and warm. So the next one, this was the 1964 election. LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, ran against Barry Goldwater. LBJ was a Democrat and Barry Goldwater was a Republican. 1964, very turbulent time in our nation's history. First off, we're in the Cold War, USSR versus the US. There's the threat of nuclear war all the time. Second of all, Kennedy was assassinated a year before, and not only was he assassinated, it was basically caught live, right? People on the radios, on their TVs remember. Very turbulent time, man. On top of that, Kennedy already put us in Vietnam and LBJ escalated the war. So we had all this shit going on in our society. So knowing that's the time, that's the place, let's watch this ad.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, 8, 9,
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
These are the stakes. To make a world in which all of God's children can live, or to go into the dark. We must either love each other or we must die.
Vote for President Johnson on November 3rd. The stakes are too high for you to stay home.
Terribly exploitative ad, man, but it's effective. Hits the emotions, man. Got the cutest looking little girl and represents like what America looked like back then. And then you pair her up with a freaking nuclear explosion. It's almost criminal. I feel like if you air that kind of ad now, the FCC or someone would complain, or SJWs would complain. But it pounded it home. I'm for security. I'm for defense. I'm for keeping America safe. This guy, Goldwater, isn't. Even though if you really examine people's policies, who knew? Who knew if this was just playing on the emotions or this actually told some truth? And that's the thing about democracies. That's the thing about people. Most of us do not spend hours looking at someone's policies, looking at what someone really stands for. We just listen to slogans. Maybe we'll be a single issue voter. We'll care about one thing. And sometimes we just vote by party. That's how America works. If you're a Democrat, you vote Democratic. If you're a Republican, you vote Republican. And this ad perfectly captures that demographic. The emotions, people want to be safe. Maybe the single issue voter. I don't want my country getting blown up or something, right? I think this ad is so self-explanatory. That's why I wanted to show it to you. Politics is no different. It's never going to change. So the last one, very effective in its attack. So this one is the most direct attack ad out of all the three. This was 1988, George Bush Sr. against Dukakis, Michael Dukakis. George Bush was a Republican. Dukakis was a Democrat. And of course, Republicans probably more for defense and all that. So that's where the attack comes from. So let's watch this.
Michael Dukakis has opposed virtually every defense system we developed. He opposed new aircraft carriers. He opposed anti-satellite weapons. He opposed 4 missile systems, including the Pershing II missile deployment. Dukakis opposed the stealth bomber and a ground emergency warning system against nuclear attack. He even criticized our rescue mission to Grenada and our strike on Libya. And now he wants to be our commander-in-chief. America can't afford that risk.
Not only is it very clear in listing all the things that it claims Dukakis opposed when it comes to defense or military spending, but then it juxtaposes it, putting it next to Dukakis looking like an idiot with that tank helmet. It's so funny. It almost looks like a parody version of Patton or something like that. Patton General, Patton. So this one is so effective because it has all these stats and then it overlays it on the silly, goofy looking Dukakis. So it's a very emotional thing. Like you look at that, you're like, this guy, I would never trust him with my life. I would never trust him to lead anything. Not a Boy Scout, not a camping trip, not a fundraiser drive, and definitely not as president. So this was a very effective attack ad. They found someone at their most cringe and then found justification for an attack besides it being cringe, right? You could have just been like, look at him, it looks so unpresidential, looks goofy, but instead they overlaid all these numbers and figures to make it look like a legit attack ad. Even though I'm sure with any politician, especially anyone running for president, they've had a history of voting. You'll look at their votes and I'm sure there will be some votes where they're absent or they didn't vote for what turned out to be the right vote. It just happens. It's human nature. We're fallible. So I'm sure if Dukakis did the same to Bush, he could find in Bush's voting record something that doesn't look right. That's what a lot of politics is. It could be trying to inspire, trying to lead, but it's also, on the flip side, finding holes, finding gaffes, finding weaknesses in your opponent. Sometimes the voters that don't really care that much about who is better will care about who's worse. See the psychology there? We looked at 3 political ads, each very effective in their own ways. Which one were your favorite? And let me know if you want to look at more Jerry Explores History. If you like this type of political history exploration, American history exploration, please let me know. Talk to you guys soon, man. If you haven't followed my other channels, go follow my other channel. Jerry out.